All right, good evening, everybody. It is Steve with Real Progress in Action. If you guys watched the debate last night, it was pretty hard to watch, at least for me. I know people got excited watching Warren slap around Bloomberg, but what I saw was something altogether different. What I saw was a prelude to the deluge of all the insane centrist attacks on Bernie Sanders. Started with reading the Washington Post, which is always a mistake at some level, and listening to people saying, so if Bernie, what if he gets all the delegates? What if he has the most votes? His path to victory is very narrow because a lot of Warren supporters are centrist Dems, the Angie's listers, the Emily listers, don't really have a progressive bone in their body. Totally wrapped up into weaponized identity politics and elitism. Nothing of interest when it comes to actual progressive policies. So I started thinking to myself, every attack from Bloomberg talking about Bernie Sanders, the leading socialist, has a house on the lake. Oh my. Oh my. At 80 years old, almost 78 years old, whatever, Bernie Sanders, over the course of time, has managed to amass, without having a bunch of divorces and child support like the rest of us, and student loans that are from forever and all that. Yeah, Bernie Sanders was able to take his earnings and write a book and do some stuff. And yes, between him and his wife, who's also a doctor, by the way, they managed to acquire some moderate minor league wealth. Piker level wealth, man. We're not talking about big wealth. Okay? So the attacks were just nonstop socialism. Okay? And this Washington Post article went on to say, hey, if you're excited about Bernie winning the nomination, so be it. But for most of us, we don't want a socialist in there. Yeah. This is your Democratic Party, folks. These are not coming from the right. This isn't coming from Trump. This isn't coming from Fox News. This is coming from the good guys. The good guys, the ones, vote blue no matter who. Honestly, it's way better. Fuck off, right? Seriously. So, I started thinking to myself, what are some other good examples to make my case? Because as I listen to Booty fricking dimwit yapping his gums about Bernie having dark money coming into his campaign. Fuck you, wine boy. Okay? Pete the cheat. Fuck you in the ear hole, dude. Okay? Your identity politics isn't going to win. And Elizabeth Warren, who's, I just don't think Bernie Sanders is the right thing for us, right? She's out there shitting all over Bernie, too. And you got right-wing Kloby taking shots at him. And Biden taking shots at him. Every one of them. Now, Bernie is Bernie. He's been vetted a million times. We all know who he is. But the problem is what you didn't know is that when they say vote blue no matter who, they're not talking about supporting Bernie. In fact, they've got an entire campaign they're trying to do to ensure that Bernie doesn't get enough delegates, doesn't have enough of the vote to be able to get past the first vote, so it would kick in the superdelegates so they could then in turn weigh in and take the nomination from Bernie. Gosh, this sounds like 2016 all over again, doesn't it, folks? The only difference is that we're smarter than we were before. And to be quite frank, I think there's enough people that were vote blue no matter who that see how vile and disgusting the party elite, the establishment party people, those long-time people that just like things the way they are, that have been running the different things, volunteering for the party, that stack the deck for conservative Dems, the boll weevils of the party. I think people know now enough that dog won't hunt. But I thought to myself, this sounds very familiar. Why does this sound familiar? And it goes way beyond. way beyond the 2015-2016 deal with Hillary. Goes back to Martin Luther King Jr. And when I thought about MLK, I thought to myself, his letter from the Birmingham jail says it all. And I got this small snippet right here, and I'm going to read it to you. And I want you to think about it, whether or not this holds true today. He says, "First, I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate." Now, I'm guessing MLK, this is probably not 1999. This isn't probably 2014. This isn't 2015 or 2016. This is as long as the white moderate has existed. These vote blue no matter whose. "First, I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached a regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizens' counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who constantly says, 'I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods or direct action,' who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom." Sound familiar? "Who lives by a mythical concept of time, who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection." You know, these white moderates, and it's not just the elite Angie's listers and the Emily listers, because something's happened since MLK's time. They've divided the 99% and the bourgeoisie, and now there's a United Colors of Benetton in the rich community. Small, but it exists. And these folks, they don't want to hear about your need for health care. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They will take, as I've said before, Donald Trump in the Republican form, and they will get him to switch parties and put a D by his name and suddenly be all about Donald Trump. Why is that? Because they're assholes, period, full stop. There's no excuse for their existence. Everything about them sucks. Michael Bloomberg is a racist. He's more racist than Donald Trump, if you can imagine it. From redlining to friggin' broken windows policing to stop and frisk, you name it, to the minimum wage, to telling a woman to kill her baby because she was pregnant on the job. I mean, this is what your white moderate is going to advance. This is what the people out there playing spoons and doing the jig, you know, taking Bloomberg money, this is what they'll do. And they're absolutely the worst we have to offer. See, I would rather see Donald Trump coming, barreling down, belly flapping, heading at me, straight forward me, so I can just go snack and knock him out. Then sit there and like, oh, these white moderates, these Democrats, they're on my team. As I go to give them a hug, I go, oh, as they shoved the knife right up in my spine and just shoved it right up in there. See, I want to know my enemy. I want to be able to see him straight on, and I want to have a chance to react. But these parasites, they start whittling away. And if you look, my God, if you see some of the Democratic operatives out there shitting all over Sanders, can you imagine what they would have said back in 2016 for progressives fighting back against Hillary? Oh, wait. The Unity Tour. Bernie cost us the election because he didn't concede soon enough, because he didn't back Hillary with a full throat. Fuck off. all the stupid things are going to keep coming out. And the socialism thing is one that we're least prepared to answer. Not because it's hard, because it's fucking easy. It's ridiculously easy. Bernie is not a socialist in the red fist in the air sort of way. He is the kind of democratic socialist that you find in like Norway, Finland. He's not your typical, CCCP kind of dude. He's not a command and control Soviet. We are talking about a genuine social democrat in the mold of FDR. He's a true New Dealer. And this is not communism. You've got to be an absolute waste of humanity. Folks, I can't even give you a bone. You have to be a loser to say he's a communist. Your value is like measured in negative numbers. That's how bad it is. But the truth is that they just say this stupid term, socialist. And everybody with zero brain starts going, I can't have socialism, socialism, socialism. I watch these folks that think they're really badass Marxists, the folks that only read volume 1, never bothered with the rest of Marx's work. They don't understand what changed, by the way, when you have a fiat currency. Marx didn't know anything about a fiat currency, but yet Marx had things to say about the relationship between capital and labor. But not understanding currency and trying to impose this without adding that extra layer of understanding is shameful. And they're out there attacking Sanders too. You got it coming from the Reich wing, but you see them coming. You know the Dumbos are coming. They're coming full force with their clown shoes on. Socialist is a socialist. It's a socialist. It's not them that you got to worry about. It's that white moderate. Well, we must be pragmatic. They're the ones that are willing to tell you it's not the right season to worry about surviving climate change. It's just too politically difficult. Never mind that we can't bargain with physics. It's just politically difficult to worry about a Green New Deal. Guys, it's just going to be divisive. It's going to be divisive to survive this climate thing. And quite frankly, my fundraisers won't have me do it. And that's your white moderate. Well, maybe if we institute a carbon tax, maybe we can somehow or another make ourselves feel good as we die. They don't understand. They don't care. This isn't a real thing to them. They're just desperate to go to the next tea and crumpet party. They want to go out for drinks and talk about highbrow things, Their value is literally measured in negative numbers. They literally steal from society. The white moderate, that centrist Democrat, is the enemy of progress. And you're going to see it, and you're going to see it often. So you've got to be prepared to talk about what the difference is. They're not going to listen to you most likely, but hopefully somebody in the periphery will have their ears on, and they'll begin to understand. We're not seizing the means of production. Would it be nice? Sure it would. We can't even get people to understand that single-payer health care, Medicare for all, is not communism. We can't even get these dumb fucks to get that. Calling a spade a spade. Now, you can wish last generation would die off quick so we could have change. Or you can sit down and you could try and talk to them about what this means. Both of them carry risks. I'll just leave it at that. So you've got to know your stuff. You've got to have an answer for the hope that lies within, because they are going to use bumper sticker logic, and it's going to slip right off their tongue within seconds. It's going to strike a nerve right up here. They're going to think about gulags. They're going to think about Putin puppets. They don't even realize that Russia is not communist, but they are going to talk like it. They're going to bring up Mao. They're going to bring up Che Guevara. They're going to bring up all the names of the past. What about Stalin? What about Lenin? What about Trotsky? What about Marx? You dirty socialist. Strap it on, baby. Don't run from it. Don't run from it. Running from it. You ever seen a dog that is angry and it's defending its turf and it starts looking at you like this? If you turn around and run, you're done. Sometimes you got to stand your ground. And this would be about one of them times. Because without us having the confidence, and not just dumb lines, but really, hey, I understand, man. If it was that, I could understand why you're so upset. But let me explain to you. Really, to be fair, I'd love a socialist, whatever, but that's not what Bernie's advocating. Bernie's advocating basically a return to the New Deal. And more importantly, he's advocating for a situation that's going to make business boom by enacting a Green New Deal and mobilizing everyone. So everyone has work. The economy is going to go through the roof. You should love that. He's talking about shifting our production away from the military and putting it towards rebuilding infrastructure. Finding people that want to work in the healthcare industry and training them so that we have enough doctors and nurses. It's not socialism. It's social spending. And without being able to have a clear head and without jumping into fuck yous, although I love that, man, because I can't stand them when they do it. And it's easy to slip right in. But if you can coherently say, hey, listen, I hear your concern. That's not what's going on here. Bernie Sanders is offering this up. You know why he can offer up all that stuff? Because the nation creates its own currency. We've been living under a lie. You Republicans, you centrist Democrats, we've all been duped. Every time the Congress authorizes spending, new money is created and it's spent into existence. Every time we tax it, money's taxed out of existence. If you're taxing money out of existence, that means that you're not just printing endless money, right? Right? You get that, right? So when they say, well, you're just going to print more money, I just told you taxes delete currency. So you're not just printing more money, you're deleting some. So it's eliminating money while you're spending it on these items. So why would they say you're just going to keep printing money? Are they stupid? Are they dumb? Or are they just trolling your ass? It's too easy to understand for me to believe that they don't know. You got to be an asshole not to realize the country spends money constantly on the military without raising a nickel of taxes. How is that? How is it? Answer the question. How does the country find the money to spend on the military without raising taxes? How does it happen, man? I don't know. How could it possibly be? Where are they getting this money from? The Jews? From the Rothschilds? No. Folks, Every single time Congress authorizes spending, any spending, folks, spending you like, spending you don't like, anytime Congress authorizes spending, it creates new money. And every single time you spend money on a tax at the federal level, it is literally shredded if it's paper, deleted if it's digital, if you pay it through check, deleted. That's how they keep the circuit of money going. Folks, it is not printing more money. When you hear that stuff, your antenna should go off. Dip, 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 dip. Economically illiterate person in vicinity. Economically illiterate person in vicinity. Do you understand what I'm saying? Our currency is driven by the tax, the imposition of the tax, payable only in U.S. dollars, not in Bitcoin, not in gold, not in chicken bullion, only U.S. dollars, because the purpose of the tax is not to collect revenue. Hello. It's to keep the currency flowing. It's a way to pull money out of the economy that's not productive. It's a way of ensuring that money doesn't pull at the top. But wait a minute, they reduced taxes on the wealthy because they made you believe that we can't do nice things unless the rich are the ones doing it. This is the Bloomberg method. This is the booty boy method. This is the Elizabeth Warren method. She's a capitalist to her bones, baby. And the Amy Klobuchar method. Only Bernie Sanders has an economic team that understands this. The only sumbitch up there that has an economic team that gets it. The only one. The only one. So none of the other candidates, not a single effing one of them, get this. So don't say, well, I kind of like this person's ideas. Fuck that. They don't understand economics. And they suck the bejesus out of life. They're the worst. Because by making you believe that taxpayer dollars are paying for this stuff, it fuels the right wing to think socialism, the only thing wrong with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. And as long as you peddle that stupid effing trope about taxpayer dollars, well, they got a leg to stand on now, don't they? Don't they? They sure as fuck do. They sure as fuck do. We call that a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the junk. Every single time you run around, my tax dollars, my hard-earned tax dollars. They're spending my hard-earned tax dollars. Trump's wasting my hard-earned tax dollars. Bernie's going to waste my hard-earned tax dollars. So-and-so's spending my hard-earned tax dollars. Taxes don't pay for spending. They're deleted. So it ain't your tax dollar paying for anything, is it? Stop saying it. It is stupid. It's not even remotely coherent. And it's wrong. It's just flat out wrong. All you woke truth tellers out there. It's wrong. So if you say it, you're wrong. And if you're wrong, you're not woke. And if you're not woke, what are you doing? What are you doing? Bernie is going to get attacked for spending other people's tax dollars. Oh, Bernie's taking your money, your hard-earned money, and distributing it to all the narrative goods. He wants to give away student debt. He wants to get rid of student debt. That's out of your hard-earned tax dollars. That's right. Every single one of you progressives out there that try to do that, you're picking up the Tea Party mantle and doing the hard work for the right wing. Golf clap for you, baby. Golf clap. You got to feel really solid talking about taxpayer dollars, don't you? Solid. Solid. Solid as a rock. I mean, that's ridiculous shit. There's no excuse for ever saying taxpayer dollars again. It's just stupid and it's irresponsible and it's racist, ironically. How about that? Let's go back to MLK for a minute. It's racist. You know why? What do you think about when you think of a taxpayer, huh? You think of a homeless black man? You think of a young, gay Latino? Or do you think about a buttoned-up white guy? It's been there forever to behave us, to train our behavior, to be a choke collar on our aspirations and inspirations and desires, to be an anchor to keep us from dreaming just a little bit more, to be a baseball bat upside our head every time we think about doing something good for ourselves. This is a Nancy Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, Milton Friedman, right-wing belief system. And it is antithetical to having a Green New Deal. It's antithetical to having a federal job guarantee. It's antithetical to expanding Social Security. And all these things are what they're going to be talking about during the rest of this primary. And into the general election as well. You're watching these centrists attack democratic socialism, or, more appropriately, social democracy. You're watching them attack the New Deal, which was never communism. The last check I had, FDR kind of went to battle against, fascism and the Nazis. I mean, folks, there's a part of me that really, really wants to throw my hands in the air sometimes because our own tribe doesn't get this. But it's vital. And you know something, years ago, I started talking about MMT. I didn't have permission. I didn't ask permission. I didn't go running around kissing rings. I didn't ask whether people thought I had credibility or not. I knew my shit and I went out there and said it. I may not have an army behind me right now, but you all, coupled with me, we make a pretty big army, don't we? And if we understand the truth, we can make it only Bernie, and we can force the DNC to listen to us. Why is that? Because while they may be okay with Trump, because that's what they put forward in Bloomberg, they may violate their own rules constantly by getting rid of Castro, Booker, and all the other neoliberal scum that I wouldn't have voted for anyway, but getting rid of them. But allowing Bloomberg on the stage, even though he didn't qualify on any of the levels at which they set the standard. They'll try and rig this frickin' election against Sanders one more time. And they're not even hiding it. They're doing it in plain sight. And the only way to overcome that is to really rise up, understand your subject matter, and fight back. Give no ground. And I think about King Leonidas. He's like, this is the day. He goes, give them nothing and take from them everything. And it's up to us as a movement to man and woman the hot gates and stop the Persian army from entering, and to win this election by sheer force of numbers and will. Because they're coming, folks. They are out of their mind, scared, and the only thing they can do is prop up propaganda and make you afraid of socialism, or make the older people that are used to the McCarthyism afraid of socialism even more, play on those World War II and Vietnam fears. And believe me when I say this, the Democrats are not afraid to pull out the right-wing playbook, because in the end, they're brothers and sisters of another mother. They are one and the same. Only Bernie is a game changer. And only Bernie does more than just change people. He changes systems. That right there, my friends, that's a revolution. Get on board. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progress in Action. Have a great day, everybody. I'm out.